We are hearing Bhagavad Gita. Yesterday we heard Arjuna asked Krishna, you said Jiva is pure, eternal. Then why do we see that she is doing sin, even unwillingly as if by force? Then Krishna replied, it is this all-consuming and formidable lust and anger born of the quality of rajas, which is the cause. In the pursuit of the highest good, know this lust to be the enemy. Then it was explained, kama comes from rajas, desire. When it is obstructed, it transforms into tama or anger. And it is insatiable, can never be satisfied. Like tomorrow we'll hear about Hiranyakashipu. He got all 3 worlds, but still he was unsatisfied. Then he started to drink alcohol and these things. It is impossible to satisfy kama. It is insatiable and all-devouring demon. Because all the produce of this world, animals, wealth, women, etc., of the whole world cannot satisfy an iota of its ravenous hunger. This hunger cannot be appeased of kama. Hence, it is the most dangerous and subtle enemy of mankind. Gurudev gave one example. It is fact in Punjab. One person was saving money whole life, working in bank and getting huge amount of money, 1 lakh, 2 lakh. That was a huge amount out of 5 lakh. He was never satisfied. He always wanted more, and he did not give any proper maintenance to his family members. Always like low quality clothes, low quality food, everything. Even when he was sick that he will die, he did not want to pay a good doctor, the cheapest one. It never ends up to his last breath. Then his last wish was to bring that money to him in cash, 5 lakhs. That was in 60s. That was like very much, huge amount of money. Whole life he was saving. Then that person had to bring it in those bags for vegetables, like for potato and those, and on top he put some vegetables so that other will think it is vegetables. But there was money. Then that person, his last wish was wanted to embrace that money. He was embracing that money on his chest and gave up body. So it does not end, this kama. Always wanting more. So one who thinks, first let me get this, then I will do then this. It will never end. Or these relative duties, it will never end. So it was a fact like this. There are examples in scripture and also examples in our visible eyes. There was one queen of Jaipur also, very rich, so much money, and also all luxury and everything. When they came to Mayapur, that time there was no road yet. From Ganga Ghat, not nice road. So when they were coming, they were rolling out velvet on the ground. All that path, from Ganga Ghat to Jogapit and to Chaitanya Mat. Velvet, so that they were going. And they met Prabhupada also, that queen, and wanted to speak with him privately, and Prabhupada sent the brahmacharis and others out. Then she said, I am most unhappy. I think street beggar is more happy than me. She explained all her problems. She said, you please bless me that I will never be born in a royal family again. And there was one that Birla or someone, or Tata, I don't know, so much money, but he committed suicide by throwing himself from, in Paris, from some, maybe Eiffel Tower or something. He committed suicide. So Gurudev said, I met many rich persons in my life, but till now I did not see any rich man happy. Always anxiety. So what Krishna is saying is fact, and you can see it in practical also, and then you can adjust your life accordingly. Otherwise you will commit same thing, same mistake. Dhumena vriyate vachnir jatha darsho malena cha yatul bena vrito garbhas tatha tenedam avritam. Just as flame is covered by smoke, mirror by dust, and just as the fetus is enwrapped by the uterus, so also the true knowledge of a jiva remains enshrouded by this lust. Explanation. It is karma that screens and dilutes the whole world by nescience or ignorance. Sometimes loosely, sometimes deeply, and sometimes very gloomily. Let me illustrate this more clearly. Just as a flame lurking in smoke can be made easily available, so also the jiva can think of or meditate on God, even when the normal function of his real self is slightly influenced by karma or maya. At this stage, a jiva whose animation is just like a budding flower engages himself in the performance of Varna Ashram Dharma or consecrated Nishkama Karma as enjoined by the scriptures. This is when it is slightly influenced. The worst condition of a fallen soul is like that of a mirror obscured by dust and thereby deprived of its quality of reflection. Deeply enthralled by karma, although born in human form, he cannot remember or meditate on God and therefore leads more an atheistic than atheistic life. This shrinking condition of the innate nature of the human soul may be compared to the life of lower animals such as birds, beasts, etc., which possess a shrunken animation. The worst and the most deplorable condition of existence of an entirely engrossed human soul is like the fetus in the womb, which is completely enwrapped by the uterus, unable to make any movement of its limbs, and existing miserably in the sack with enshrouded animation like trees, creepers, stone, etc. There in Jeva Dharma these 5 are given. Slight means very much shrunken, then little open and like this. That is immoral atheists, and no, that is in human life. That is in all different species. These creepers, stones, they have very blocked consciousness. Then it slowly opens. So karma can have different degrees, how much it envelopes the jiva. Like in Ajamil's case, there in commentary of Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur and Prabhupada, it is stated that one cannot get nama bhas and mukti if there are some offenses there. But offenses are also of various degrees. There it is written. And accordingly, how much offenses are removed, up to that degree, one can get the fruit of holy name. Up to that degree. So Ajamil had no offense. But if one is not experiencing mukti in his life, means he is disturbed by anything in this world, and having no attraction to anything in this world, means he did not get namavas, mukti. It means some offenses are there. So it is stated there, even those who have taken shelter of Guru and taken Diksha and everything, their offenses are also there. And they have to be removed by practice. If one will not practice according to Gurudev's instruction, then offenses will remain, cannot be removed, like by time. You have to change. By positive action, you have to remove those things. Then you can be liberated, otherwise not. So like Kama is of different degrees, Aparadas also of different degrees, and advancement in Vaishnavism of different degrees. Avritam Jnanam etena Jnanino Nitya Vairina Kamarupena Kaunteya Dushpurena Nalena Cha. O Arjuna, the son of Kunti, the true knowledge of a wise man is enshrouded by this insatiable, eternally inimical fire of lust. Explanation. O son of Kunti, the Kama is the bitterest enemy of the Jiva. In the forum of ignorance, it envelopes the true knowledge of the real nature of the Jiva and the Supreme Lord. As pouring of clarified butter intensifies rather than extinguishes the blazing fire, so also Kama, or the enjoying mood, intensifies rather than satisfies the cravings of the mind and the senses of the Jiva. If you give fulfillment, it will never be satiated, but opposite, it will intensify. Kama, or the enjoying mood, is the shameful perversion of the holy principle of divine love, the eternal connecting link between the Supreme Lord and the Jiva. Like magnet and iron, eternal connecting link between the Supreme Lord and the Jiva, but when it is enveloped by Kama, or it is transformed into Kama, when Jiva becomes averse to Krishna. So it is perverted. That attachment for Krishna is perverted into enjoying spirit. Kama cuts off this connecting link and makes a Jiva its bond slave. Like a blazing fire, it consumes the soul's natural ardor for divine love and ultimately transforms it into a black charcoal in the form of worldly attachment. A true knowledge of the real nature of me, Supreme Lord, and the Jiva, and our interrelationship enables one to throw off the yoke of kama or maya, that which binds, yoke. Both I, the Supreme Lord, and the Jiva are spiritual entities, eternally existing in the spiritual realm as master and servant. I am the Supreme Lord, otherwise known as Vibhu Chaitanya, all-pervading Supreme Being. The Jiva is Anu Chaitanya, that is to say, my spiritual atomic part, existing simultaneously distinct and non-distinct from me, that is Achintya Bheda Abheda, and as such, the function of a Jiva is the eternal service of the Satchit Ananda Vigraha, that is to say, of me, in the spiritual abode. That is the function of Jiva, because he is big, we are small. The Jiva is endowed with free will, the most precious gift of me, Supreme Lord, for which I am universally worshipped as the Supreme Munificent. The Jiva can make the right use of this precious gift or abuse it. When the Jiva makes the best use of it, out of his own accord, he remains my eternal servant. When he abuses it, he instantly forgets his real nature as the eternal servant of me, Supreme Lord, is at once overpowered by kama with an enjoying mood, and begins to enjoy and measure the phenomenal and even the spiritual world with his enjoying and measuring temperament. Tries to. You cannot measure spiritual world, but we think we can do. That is wrong attitude. We try to measure Guru, Vaishnava, Supreme Lord, Dham, all this with material senses. It is impossible. The more he is deluded by kama as the enjoyer of sense objects, the more his thirst for enjoyment increases, and the screen of illusion grows thicker and thicker until his inner vision of spiritual realities is obscured. In this way, the deeper the illusion, the greater is the velocity, speed, with which he is hurled down into the miserable existence of the lower animals, till he is dragged into the lowest depth of enshrouded animation, such as trees, stones, etc. This is known as karma chakra, or worldly bondage, which willy-nilly forces a bound jiva to rotate in the cycle of births and rebirths. Willy-nilly, maybe whether you want or not, you are forced to rotate in the cycle of births and deaths. It is to be borne in mind that kama, or the enjoying mood, has its reverse, moksha kama, or renouncing temperament, both being the two ends of one and the same rod, maya. The latter makes the jiva an aspirant after oneness with Godhead or Brahman. Hence, the latter is more harmful than the former. There it is explained. Kama means any selfish desire. So one wants to exploit this material nature for his enjoyment. Another one wants to be liberated, to be one with Brahman. That is also selfish desire. It is also kama. Only prema is not kama. Prema means to satisfy Krishna. That is why in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Mahaprabhu said, Bhukti mukti siddhi kami sokoli ashanta. Krishna bhakta nishkama otoev shanta. The karmis, they want enjoyment. Gyanis, they want liberation. Yogis, they want mystic powers. That is all kama, and that therefore they are all disturbed. Ashanta. They cannot be fulfilled. But Bhakta is nishkama because he has bhakti, prema. So he has no selfish desire and he is fully fulfilled. Therefore, he is shanta because he is fully happy, so peaceful. So both is there. So kama comes when one becomes averse to Krishna by the misuse of his relative independence. Then that prema potentially is transformed into this kama. And the more you are deep, the more you are degraded in lower species. And you are forced to undergo cycle of births and deaths. Here rebirths. Indriyani mano buddhir asyadishthanamuchyate eteirvimohayatyesha jnanam avrita dehinam. The sense organs, the mind and intelligence are said to be the abode of lust. This lust, having obscured the knowledge, deludes an engrossed person with them, that is to say, senses, mind and intelligence. Explanation. A soul is a spiritual entity of pure cognition, pure awareness, pure knowledge, pure consciousness, pure perception also. A soul is a spiritual entity of pure cognition, volition and emotion, thinking, feeling, willing. Encased by the double garments of mind and body, the embodied soul becomes a henchman of kama. Deluded by kama, he identifies himself with his perverted ego. His pure intelligence, being also perverted, is not able to discriminate between right and wrong. His perverted mind is ever running after the will of the wisps and is fidgety, always anxious. Running of all this will of the wisp life, I don't know how to explain, but after running, 1 second. Will of the wisp. A person or thing that is difficult or impossible to reach or catch. Yeah, something imaginary you want to catch, like phantasmagoria. So you are running after the will of the wisps and this fidgety, that is our Gurudev explained this, means he used this word, but I think it's not here, fidget. About that there, he will die fidgeting. Yes, nervousness, impatience, restlessness. Somewhere I saw in like anxiety, restlessness. Means you will die that deer is running after that phantasmagoria, and he will die without that thing, and he will be disturbed, restless. His senses become the instruments of his enjoyment. Perverted egoism is the first veil of ignorance offered to the jiva by kama, or avidya, means forgetfulness of real self. And perverted intelligence, or kubuddhi, serves as the first stronghold of perverted ego. When this perverted ego gradually develops, the mind stands as a second stronghold. When the mind attempts to deal with phenomena, means this material world, the senses appear before him as the third stronghold, like a fort. They are all supporting. Fortifying by these three fortresses, Kama hurls down the jiva into the vortex of worldly enjoyment. Thus, infatuated by Kama, the jiva becomes its bond slave. So this is how Maya makes three strongholds or forts. So it is very difficult to escape to. But now I remember when we were in Gokul Mahavan, I think, yes. Then Gurudev said, now some anarthas will try to come to your programs. So you have to be careful. And you have to make a fort of sadhu sangha. Fort. That is meant when more devotees, they gather together and they are unitedly worshipping Supreme Lord. That will be like a fort in which you will be protected from Maya. Grace, you have to make a fort. So like Kama is making a fort, we also have to make a fort to be for defense from Maya. That is possible by sadhu sangha. Because Gurudev told us we should have programs in 2002, so we started. But in 2005, Gurudev said now some will try to bring some anarthas, and really it happened. At that time, some were trying to little control and like this, so Gurudev could know in advance. Already he understood. So he said, be very careful. You have to make a fort. So tomorrow our fort will also continue. I will announce now that tomorrow we are having program here for Nrishinga Chaturdashi with devotees. After a long time we will have program because we were always on Skype. So now situation changed and we will have program here, and some children also are coming. So I will have to speak in Slovenian language. So tomorrow there will be no Skype program, but I will paste you here one link of the video of Gurudev when he was in England or Holland. He spoke on Nrishinga Chaturdashi. So remembering that, I will try to speak tomorrow that thing. So if you will hear Gurudev, that will be more beneficial. So you will not be deprived of anything, you will get more benefit. And then on Monday we will continue here on Skype. Tomorrow fasting is there from sunrise till one who is able to, if there are no health problems, otherwise he can take up to sunset. one has to fast fully, then one can accept those like Ekadashi preparations, Anukalpa, fruits, roots and all this. That is not breaking fast. That is shifting from more intense fasting to less intense fasting. It is not break fasting and not making feast. That is not feast. Next day you have to break fast at appropriate time, and you can make like feast next day. That is Anukalpa Prasad. Those who are unable to whole day fast, at least they should fast until the appearance, and then they can take something for survival and to not be disturbed. But our Parangurudev, he would follow whole day, full fasting on Janmashtami and everything. He did not take any of these fruits, potato and this. Full fasting, and next day he would break. So this is only less fasting. It is not breaking fast or feasting. That is not like that. So I will also write text there. So fourth, Kama has her own fort, does not let you out. And there is also fort in this world of like spiritual, that is sadhu sangha, that will protect you from Maya's attack. Thus, infatuated by Kama, the jiva becomes its bond slave. This perverted egoism, born of Kama, engenders aversion to the service of Krishna and his devotees, and this brings about the ruin of the jiva. Kama is therefore the deadliest foe of the jiva. But still, when a fallen soul takes absolute shelter in the lotus feet of Sri Krishna, Krishna appears before him as the Sadguru, whose transcendental words, when listened to with rapt attention, liberate him from the terrible grip of the octopus-like Kama. So Kama is our enemy, but Kama is not forcefully attacking. It is when we become averse to Krishna and want to enjoy. Then that Kama comes, and then she becomes enemy. Like if someone becomes addicted, then that addiction becomes his enemy. But that he became addicted was misuse of his free will. He was not addicted. Like we are not forced to be under Kama. We are marginal potency. We are not forced. Only when we become averse to Krishna and want to enjoy, that time she catches and then she becomes enemy. But not forceful enemy. But still, if Jiva takes absolute shelter of Krishna, then Krishna will come as Guru. Guru and Krishna, they are same. And if you hear that Harikatha and regulate your life accordingly to that Harikatha, then you can be released from Kama, octopus, like that, that animal in the sea, octopus. It will catch you from all sides and you cannot escape. But you can escape by Sadguru's mercy. Hobotnica, we say in Slovenian language, Hobotnica. His perverted egoism vanishes in proportion to his realization of the true nature of his real self and of Godhead. This is also not day and night. It is a degree of how much one is liberated. The proper use of free will, which leads to the transcendental knowledge of God, Jiva and Mayic world, and their interrelationship, is the work of Paravidya, or real knowledge, And forgetfulness of one's own real self and of Godhead is of aparavidya or kama, or ignorance, darkness. Tasmatvam indriyanyado niyamya bharatarshava papmanam prajahyenam jnana vijnana nashanam. Therefore, O Arjuna, the scion of the family of Bharata, having controlled beforehand the organs of sense and action, you should conquer this evil lust thoroughly, the destroyer of true knowledge and loving devotion. Explanation. Therefore, O Bharatarshava, chief of the family of Bharata, triumph over this deadly foe Kama, means you win over this deadly foe enemy Kama, the destroyer of Gyan, pure intelligence, and Vigyan, loving devotion to me, by subduing firstly your mind and senses, by engaging them in my service of Hrishikesh. Destroy Kama that dominates over your soul's freedom of choice by trying to be in tune with the real loving nature of your true self. Yes, this is when we are in Kama, we are forced. We don't have much freedom. Like if we are in animal and there is no freedom, only going by instinct. Only when we reach this human birth, we get some freedom. Like when you are in prison, you are fully in prison, and then there is some that in between something. You are still bound, but you can little move here and there. So, because we wanted to enjoy this Maya, so Krishna fulfilled our desires, and we passed through so many species of life to enjoy eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. In different varieties and magnitudes, we enjoy this. Then after passing through those, we get this human birth, and in this human birth, we get some freedom. And if we properly utilize that freedom, then we can be fully free, fully liberated. And in human birth also we heard, according to our past karma, there is some fixed karma that will force you, and it will own you, like Sridhar Maharaj said. It will own you like a husband. You cannot escape. But still some meager freedom is there. That has to be utilized to submit to Krishna. Then by His grace you can be fully free, because here destroy Kama that dominates over your soul's freedom of choice. It has influence there. You are not fully free. By trying to be in tune with the real loving nature of your true self, you have to awake that devotion to Krishna. The more you are in tune with the real loving nature of your true self, the more you can be free from influence of Kama. The first duty of a fallen soul is to practice Swadharma with Yukta Vairagya, genuine asceticism, and then to follow the gradual steps that are laid down by the saints in the path of unalloyed devotion, a path which is beyond the intellect of a fallen soul, but attainable only by my grace and by the grace of my devotees. awakened soul can awake other sleeping souls. That is mercy. When they come to awake, they give us this path of unalloyed devotion. By our own effort, we cannot have it. Tomorrow we will hear Prahlad Maharaj was asked by Hiranyakashipu, how you got this? These teachers, Sanda Marka, they say they did not tell you this. How you got it? He said, I did not get by my own effort. Also, I did not get by their help or by the help of any attached soul in this world. Combined, together, or separately, it is impossible. No one. It is possible only when you take bath in the dust of lotus feet of pure devotee who has no attachment in this world and who is fully attached to Krishna. By his grace, your mind can become fixed on Krishna. Matirna Krishna parato svatova. Here Prahlad said Krishna. His object of worship is Krishna of Prahlad. He said, Matirna Krishna paratos. I did not get my attention or my devotion to Krishna by this. I got it by Narad. And this Krishna, according to necessity of situation, Krishna took the form of Nrishinga Bhagavan. Why? Because he had to consider the boon of Brahma. Hiranyakashipu got it. So he came in such a form, but he's Krishna himself. There are not many gods. God is only one. So Krishna came in the form of Nrishinga because it was such necessity to rescue Prahlad. To not be any created being by Brahma. Brahma created human and Brahma created animals, but he did not create half man, half animal. And no any weapon. So Nrishinga Bhagavan came with his nails and no day, no time, and on a lap like this. You will hear tomorrow. So that is Krishna coming in this form to rescue Prahlad from these demoniac forces. Like that, if we pray to Nrishingadev, then he will rescue us from all these demon-like anarthas which are inside our hearts. Money, sex, and name and fame. He will remove that by giving higher taste, that is devotion to him. Krishna in the form of Nrishinga. So this path of unalloyed devotion, which is beyond the intellect of a fallen soul, but attainable only by my grace and by the grace of my devotees. Indriyani paranyahur, indriyebhyah parammanah, manasastu parabuddhir, yobudeh paratastu saha. The sense organs are said to be superior to matter or sense objects. The mind is superior to the sense organs. Intelligence is superior to the mind. And he who is superior even to intelligence is the soul. Explanation. Let me now tell you in a nutshell the gradation from gross matter up to the highest spirit. You are a jiva. Your real nature is to render loving service to me and me alone. But at present, you have misidentified your real self with your perverted ego, senses, mind, and intelligence. This is due to the delusion caused by Kama or Maya, which has enthralled you owing to your abuse of free will and the forgetfulness of your real self and of me. Matter is the gross, earthy product of nature, which is lifeless. Superior to matter are the senses, subtler than and superior to the senses is mind, still more subtle than and superior to mind is intelligence, much more subtle than and superior to intelligence is the soul, and higher than and by far superior to the soul is Paramatma, or Oversoul, the immanent aspect of me, the Supreme Lord. Evam budeh param buddva samstabhyatmanam atmana jahi shatru mahabaho kamarupam durasadam. O mighty Arhamt Arjuna, thus, knowing the soul to be the entity superior to intelligence and making the mind steady with the knowledge of true self, overpower lust, the invincible enemy. Explanation. Thus, O mighty Arhamt, well equipped with the transcendental knowledge of your real self and realizing that self as the eternal servant of me, the Lord, and as such far superior to the transient body, mind, and intelligence, kill this formidable enemy, Kama, outright. Remember that your unalloyed self is eternally associated with me, the Supreme Lord, by the tie of divine love, rendering eternal loving service to me in my blissful realm. Cast off all your prejudices and relative thoughts of mundane personalities and impersonalities. Enlighten yourself with the light of that perfect knowledge and dispel the age-long gloom of ignorance from your mind. By the grace of my internal, self-effulgent, controlling potency, Swarup Shakti, and by following the gradual steps of devotional practices, do away with this insuperable and powerful enemy, Kama, which is ever antagonistic to the spiritual realization by you of your unalloyed self and of me, the Godhead. Spiritual realization by you of your unalloyed self and of me, the Godhead. This Kama is ever antagonistic, contrary to the spiritual realization by you of your unalloyed self and of me, the Godhead. So this knowledge, who I am and how I am related to Supreme Lord and what is my natural function, that knowledge can be gotten only by the grace of Swarup Shakti, that is pure devotee. In concrete form in this world, pure devotee, he can give us this knowledge or awake in us by his grace when we submit to him. Then there are gradual steps, like first hearing Harikatha, then taking initiation, then doing bhajan as per his direction. Then anarthas will go away, then you become steady, and then get taste, become attached to Krishna, then bhava will come, and then prema. But you need the grace of my internal, self-effulgent, controlling potency and by following the gradual steps of devotional practices. We are hearing in Kartik, Pratham Jam Sadhan, first period of devotional practice, then second period, third period, fourth period, like this, up to Prema. Then we can cut this kama. Gist of this chapter. This chapter deals with Nishkama Karma Yoga, or desireless action dedicated to the Supreme Lord Shri Krishna, leading one to the transcendental knowledge regarding the Lord and one's own self. Then questions to this chapter. Why is a jiva in his fettered state impelled to karma yoga? When jnana yoga is known to be superior to karma yoga, we heard, because not all are eligible for jnana directly. You need purification of heart to be able to jnana. That is why you have to do. But jnana is superior step, but you cannot jump to that. Second question, who are entitled to Jnana Yoga and who to Karma Yoga? One who has Chitta Shuddhi, purification of heart, he is eligible for Jnana. And those who not, they have to do Karma Yoga. Is salvation attained by the renunciation of action? Not, if prematurely. If your heart is not pure, then you will fall down. Why is action indispensable for a jiva? Because qualified on that platform has to purify his heart, and also he cannot even maintain body without action, so it is indispensable. Who is a hypocrite? We heard one who outwardly renounces, but inside he's thinking of those objects. He's a hypocrite. And he will fall down. What actions lead to liberation from worldly bondage? That karma, nishkama karma. Who is reckoned as a thief according to the Gita? One who does not offer in yagya and takes prasad, but directly eating. He's a thief taking something which is not his own. Who are they that eat and drink their own sins? Those who don't offer in yagya. How is action the cause of the cycle of births and deaths? If wrong action, vikarma and death. Or there is some more there, I forgot now. Why are yagya or sacrificial duties enjoined in the scriptures? For gradual development, orderly development. What ideal of action is to be followed by a teacher of the world? He has to follow, to be example to others. That is Nishkama Karma Yoga, desireless without being attached to the fruits, that action. What are the distinctive characteristics of the ignorant and the wise? We read there. Those who don't know their real self, they're ignorant, and wise, they know. But wise are also doing that action for the sake of being. Example, last question. What are the two great enemies of a sadhaka? Neophyte in spiritual practice. Which two? Kama, Krodha. Kama is lust. When lust is not fulfilled, or some obstacle or some delay, then it transforms into krodha, anger. They are enemies of sadhaka. The more one can engage himself in the service of Krishna, the more he can conquer this kama and krodha. You cannot give up dryly and go away, or I will give up. No. You must get higher taste. The more higher taste you have, the more that will not touch you. There will be no desire, so no anger. But if desire is there for anything, then when you will not get it, you will become angry. So then on Monday there is also one holy day. So I think on Tuesday we can continue next chapter, 4th, Jnana Yoga. So tomorrow, Nrishinga Chaturdashi, I wish you very devotional observance of Nrishinga Chaturdashi wherever you will be, on some program, or if you will watch Gurudev or read in the Bhagavatam or wherever. I pray to Shri Nrishingadev and Prahlad Maharaj and Gurudev to bless us all with their appearance.